Hi, Rod from Fleet Auto News. Good to be with you again, and look what I've brung today. Subaru WRX. Of the new WRX. Some thought it a bit controversial. I think it's a nice progression on from the previous model. The car is slightly wider and longer than before. The styling keeps all the true elements of a WRX, but it just seems a little bit softer, more mature if you like. It's grown up a bit. Still got the lovely big bonnet scoop. It wouldn't be a WRX without that. But there's other features to it. The headlights, sort of a pinch point design now, nosing in there, and then the black wheel arch trims. They're sort of hexagonal when you look on the side there. Almost has like a little golf ball finish to it, and there's quite a lot of this black plastic all around the base of the car, down the door sills and across the front here as well, which I don't mind. I think it looks quite nice, and it's something which, personal choice of course, but I think adds to the Rex and makes it a better looking car. I quite like the rear end styling on the WRX. It's a nice continuation of this Icon's theme. Taillights are particularly attractive. I quite like the wet look about them. The black wraparound continues on the skirt underneath with the golf ball like feel that's there. And of course, it wouldn't be a WRX without those four big exhausts out the back. Little boot lid spoiler. I must admit, on the STI in the previous model, I was a fan of the whale tail, the closed dryer, whatever nickname you have for it. I quite liked it because it's loud and proud. But everything about this car, it's subtler, more subdued, in line with growing up. And I think that's the theme that Subaru's tried to hit on with this. Practicality wise, got a nice big boot, opener up there, 411 litre of space inside the boot here. Like everything about the WRX, everything's a little bit bigger, including the motor. It's now a 2.4 litre four-cylinder turbo motor as opposed to the old 2 litre model. Power is up a little bit to 202 kilowatts, but torque remains the same at 350 newton meters. Subaru says that the drivability and tractability of this engine is much better. I tend to agree, having driven it. It delivers its power a bit more linearly and smoothly throughout the rev range. This particular model is a 6-speed manual, and the fuel economy on this model lists at 9.9 litres per 100 k's on the combined cycle. The automatics in the 8-speed CVT are a little bit better at 8.5 litres per 100, but horses for courses there. One thing that's missing out of this Rexy, it's the boxer burble, the exhaust note. It was really good on the old Subarus, and the WRX was known for it. The new model doesn't do it anymore. Sitting inside WRX in the driver's seat, first thing I see is the lovely big D-shaped. Subaru tells me it's a D, it's not a flat bottom steering wheel. But it's leather wrapped, simplified controls for all the stereo and phone on this side and the cruise control on the other. It's not adaptive cruise control, I'll talk about that in a moment, but then got the instrument cluster there, tacho, speedo, and then in the middle is a centralised information thing there, just showing you there's the compass, tyre pressure monitoring, hours, distance, fuel economy, and the boost pressure. Dominating the interior is this new 11.6 inch portrait style touchscreen infotainment system, standard across all the WRXs. It's got the screen mirroring going here, plugs in for Apple CarPlay. I've got my phone in there at the moment. There's no charging mat at all, so it's got to be plugged in to charge. And to be honest, watch your cable length, because once I've had it already wrapped around the gear knob accidentally, and that's not good. So just be careful of that. But it's got all the functions there for you, all the infotainment stuff. A couple of knobs, your good old tuning and volume there. Buttons for the temperature control, and the centralised bar here goes through for the climate control. Stays on all the time, it doesn't disappear when you change to different functions on the infotainment screen. Very, very nice interior. It's a lot less cluttered than the old model. The old model was displays and gadgets everywhere. This strikes me as much cleaner. Still some hard plastic surfaces and that there. Leather touches in different points, but it's not too hard to find the leather plastic. Bit of carbon fibre finish on the doors there, and the seats are what they call ultra suede with a bit of leather trim there as well. Very comfortable. Both are heated, as are the two outboard seats in the rear. It is a very nice interior. Quite easily spend a lot of time here. In doing that though, and that's the gear knob of course, I need to have a drink. How's the cup holder test go? Got our big cup there, fits in quite nicely in either slot. It's actually north-south, the cups here in the manual. In the auto they seem to go east-west. And inside, little storage compartment, very good there. But it's actually got a CD player in there. Different. Some of us still like CDs. That's good. Manual handbrake, the autos get an electric handbrake. But WRX RS model manual, it's quite a nice place to be. Looking in the back seat now of the WRX RS here, got the ultra suede seats again. There's a fair bit of room in here. Legroom looks pretty good. Get your feet under there pretty nicely without crushing your toes. Got the passenger seat back, so it's a bit squishy there, but I do worry about headroom. How's it going to be? If you get the wagon variant, obviously it won't be a problem, but in this car, if you're a bit taller on a longer trip, it may not be so good. Also, the manual lacks rear air vents. When I get the wagon, I believe it'll have, it's an auto, it'll have the rear air vents, but the manual sedan definitely does not. Got a couple of USB ports there, and the controls for heating of the two rear outer seats in the back. Very good. Just a different view here from inside the WRX, sitting in the middle and the back. Get a good view of the large display screen there now. All the instruments, steering wheel, all the nice polished metal pedals, leather wrapped gear knob, of course my big ass coffee cup in there. But also this car has a very nice sunroof. Tilts, opens, very nice indeed. Driving WRX, it is absolutely a pleasure. The car is beautifully balanced, as you'd expect from a Subaru. The steering, light, on point, direct. It just, you turn the wheel and you're there. It's bloody brilliant when you turn it. It just feels really, really nice. Inspires a lot of confidence. You know exactly where the wheels are pointing all the time, and makes driving it such a pleasure. The gear throw, nice and light when you put your foot down. There's plenty of power to burn. A little bit up on the previous model in terms of power, but it's basically a case of it's much more deliverable. You can use the power. It's so linear. It feels very, very nice, very tractable. It just makes it really good to drive. It's a driver's experience. It's never uncomfortable. There's no harsh banging or whatever you find with some sports cars. It is subtle, it is balanced, poised, and a pleasure to drive. Push it hard and it'll reward you. Just want to cruise around, no problem. If there's only one thing that disappoints me at all, it's the boxer burble. I really miss it. That visceral, raw sound. You hear a WRX coming before you ever see it. It's not there, but you listen closely enough, there's a tiny hint of it in the engine note, but it's not like previous models. But the car's grown up. I've grown up. Do I want an absolute out and out rip snorting fireball all the time? No. I want something I can live with every day. And I think most novated lease buyers will be considering the same. I need it to be quiet and comfortable to do the run around to the shops or the school run or whatever you may need it to be. But when I want to go for that blast on my favourite bit of twisty road on a Sunday morning, I want it to do that too. And that's where this car, I think, strikes a very good balance between those two opposite ends of the scale. It will deliver what you want pretty much all the time. The fuel economy, as I said, is listed at 9.9 litres for this particular car, the manual, but also it takes a minimum 95 premium unleaded fuel, so there's that to consider. The time I've had this car, I've been averaging about 10.2. A lot of metro running. I haven't been able to get out and do a country run in this car this time, but I know from the freeway running I have been doing, it is very comfortable over a long distance, and you could knock over the country Ks, not even bat an eyelid at it. It is a very comfortable and practical car. Is it an out and out tribute to the Icon? Well, the Icon's grown up a bit, and I think that's what you'll find with this car, that it is still a WRX, but it's one that's going to be with you and more comfortable to live with every day. Driving the 6-speed manual here, it does miss out on some very important inclusions. It doesn't get autonomous emergency braking, adaptive cruise. It just isn't there. When you go to the automatic version, yes, they are. The Subaru eyesight system, it's not in the manual version. So, but in the manual, you can do this. And that's a lot of fun. I pick the gear, I drive it. A WRX, it's worthy of the badge. The new Rexy, it looks good, it goes good, and it lives up to the status of its famous predecessors. I quite like it as a novated lease option. It's a car you can live with every day, go to the shops and take it for that fun weekend drive as well. Big enough for a small family, comfortable enough to live with every day. As you see it right here, right now, $56,500 drive away is the price on it. So it's not the cheapest tool in the toolbox, if you like, but it's certainly one with that surety and safety of all-wheel drive that's going to serve you well all the time, like all Subarus do. Subaru offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty and 5-year cap service program. It is quite a good offering, and it is something which gives you good peace of mind in owning this car. The only downside for me is it doesn't have that boxer burble, the typical WRX sound, the guttural, visceral feel that you can hear a WRX coming well before you ever see it. And for that, that's a bit of a downer for me. In any case, I'm Rod from Fleet Auto News. Thanks for watching.